Hey everybody, my name is Amanda. I'm a hand embroidery artist, and in this video I wanted to walk you through what I would do if I was starting from scratch and learning how to thread paint. I personally love to thread paint. That is my preferred method of embroidery, and I've been doing it for probably the past 10 plus years at this point. And there's been a lot of trial and error, so I figured that maybe doing a video that just walks you through learning the basics and then building upon your skills, I think that would be helpful because I feel like I wasted a lot of time just, trial and erroring a lot of things. I'm completely self-taught and I don't come from a traditional art background, so I think that it was a little bit more challenging in that way. But in the age of the internet and all of the resources that are out there, I feel like there's no better time than now to do something like this. So I hope that you find this video helpful and that you can use some of the resources that I include in it. Real quick before we get started, I'm going to leave a bunch of links to resources that I have that are available, some for free on my website and through YouTube. And then I also have some patterns as well as some tutorials that I make on Patreon if you are interested in some further learning. So let's get into the video. Thread painting is a style of embroidery that uses the long and short stitch to blend colors together similar to painting. And if you clicked on this video, you probably already know that, but I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what I mean by thread painting. There is a machine embroidery technique also called thread painting, but for this video I'm just going to be going through the hand embroidery technique. The first thing that I would do before I ever pick up any sort of project is just to learn the long and short stitch. While this is not the only stitch you use in thread painting, it is the primary one that would be useful to use. If you have a couple of basic embroidery stitches in your toolkit, then you are good to go and you can just focus on learning this new stitch, the long and short stitch. The long and short stitch seems very simple in theory. When I explain it, you're going to be like, that sounds really simple, why would it be hard? But it is notoriously a little bit complicated for people. It is just a series of long and short stitches that you randomly vary the lengths of, and you can blend colors together this way. While it sounds like it's very simple, it can be a challenge for people, and I do hear a lot of people talk about getting a little bit frustrated when they're first learning it. And I just want to tell you that it is totally normal to struggle with it and to feel like you're really having to work at it and kind of figure out what's going on with all of it. I have a tutorial that will walk you through some of the basics that I think you should check out. It'll go through how to blend a couple of colors together and to stitch a simple little square on the fabric, and I think you should just start there and just focus on that. Once you're comfortable with the basic techniques, then I would try to start color blending a little bit. I would choose 2 to 3 colors and just work on blending those together. And again, that tutorial goes through some of that as well, so I think it'll be helpful. Once you learn how to do that with just straight stitches in like a little square of the fabric, then I would start to maybe try doing a little bit more irregular shapes and starting to gradually vary your stitch direction, because that is something that you will be doing when you are thread painting. There is kind of an art form to it, and again, it's just a technique that takes some time to get used to, but generally you'll just shorten up your stitches and gradually change the stitch direction. I have a couple of tips on that blog post to help you learn it easier and to achieve a smoother blend. So definitely check that out. Once you're comfortable with the backbone of thread painting, which is the long and short stitch, you'll want to start with a simple project. So I would recommend selecting some sort of thread painting pattern. I think it's a little less daunting to start a pattern that somebody else has designed, stitched, and tested and planned out, because then you don't have to worry about failing and something going awry. You can just focus on learning the skills and just kind of figuring out how to navigate working through a pattern. If you purchase a thread painting pattern, usually it will have a traceable design as well as step-by-step photos in it. I would highly recommend being careful as to what kinds of designs you're purchasing online, because there are some AI designs floating around that don't have super detailed instructions in them, and you definitely want to get a pattern that has really highly detailed instructions in it. I actually did a video doing a roundup of a bunch of different embroidery artists. It's not all thread painting, but there are a few people in there that I recommend, and I also personally sell thread painting projects. All of my patterns include traceable designs, stitch diagrams for the stitch direction, a color list, as well as step-by-step highly detailed photos of each step of the way, so you can rest assured that the patterns are doable. And I've had people say that they were relatively easy to understand and to get through. So I'll leave a link if you want to look at those, but I'll also leave a link to that video if you're interested in maybe another artist's work as well, because there's plenty of people out there to choose from. Not only is having a project like this just a good goal to have in mind, it's also something that will help to encourage you through the process as you're working through it, and it's a little less monotonous than just learning the long and short stitch. It will also teach you how you can think about using your stitches, changing the direction of your stitches, and the choices of color that you're using. I think that using somebody else's design and project that they have made is a really great opportunity to just kind of learn the basics. Everybody has a little bit of a different process, but I feel like some of the fundamentals are the same. So I think it's just really worth your time to try to invest in either a kit or a pattern to start out with. Once you have a couple of thread painting projects under your belt, I would recommend starting to learn how to reference a reference photo. This is the next step in the process. If you are interested in learning how to create your own designs, I think that it's an essential skill to know how to do. I personally still reference photos, especially if I'm trying to get something super realistic. And I generally will take photos by myself on walks or just around and about of any sort of subject matter that I would like to include in my designs. But I also utilize certain websites that have free photos that are Creative Commons, public domain. Basically, they are a license that is completely unrestricted and you can use it for your art. I like to use Unsplash and Pixabay. Those are great for highly detailed photos, so definitely check those out. Leads me into my next tip for using a reference photo. You definitely want to be using reference photos that are well lit, clear, they show the subject matter properly, there's good accurate proportions as well as accurate colors, because you can only stitch what you see, so you want to make sure that you're being picky with what kind of reference photo you use, especially if you're trying to get something super realistic. So just a little tidbit, make sure that you're using a good reference photo if you're going to try a project out. When you use a reference photo, I actually have a video that has a tutorial on how I like to reference photos to create embroidery designs out of, and I also have some more in-depth details specifically for thread painting on my Patreon that will show you and walk you through my process for planning out and designing things. Outside of just learning how to reference a photo, I think this will teach you the skill of observation, because it will really allow you to pick up how color changes in a design, or how you can plan out the stitch direction in order to contour the object or to accentuate certain things or add certain details. So I think really studying photos while you're referencing them will really help you to get an eye for design, and it'll just really level up your embroidery if you feel comfortable to do something like that. The next step in the process, I would recommend to learn a little bit about color theory. As somebody who is a self-taught artist, I feel like I was a little bit shy about learning some of the fundamentals of art, because I felt like it was something that was for quote-unquote real artists, and I just kind of felt like it was daunting and I wasn't really sure where to start with it. But I'm here to tell you that you don't really need to know a ton of stuff about color to kind of start to have an eye for it. So I would recommend just going over basic color theory, which you could find online. I also have some tutorials on my Patreon. I have stuff specific for embroidery, as well as just some basics of learning color theory. But if you are able to understand a couple of basic color schemes, as well as what makes colors look harmonious together, I think that that will take you a long way. And just as you stitch and as you test things out, you'll start to get a sharper eye for how to pick and choose colors. So I think it's a skill that you can definitely build on. You don't need to completely go down a huge rabbit hole and study all at once and learn all there is about color, because I personally don't know everything that there is about color, but I've just tried to educate myself over the years and become more comfortable and familiar with it. If you learn a little bit about color theory outside of just figuring out what colors will blend together well and all of that, it will help you come up with more harmonious color schemes overall, which again will help you to level up your work and make your own impressive designs. The next step in the process is to learn how to draw. I guess this is not necessarily the next step. You could do this while you're learning about color theory, and I think it would be really helpful. But again, it was something that I shied away from for so long because I just never felt like I was very strong at traditional art. And that's a whole different story. But again, drawing and art is a skill that you can learn. And if you invest time into it and you're intentional about it, then you can learn it and you shouldn't be scared of it. I see embroidery as just as much a craft as it is an art. And I think that using traditional art skills and traditional art techniques will really help you to make beautiful art with your embroidery, and it just opens up a world of possibilities for your designs. I think that if you're able to reference photos, have a decent understanding of color theory, and also to employ some illustration techniques into your work, you can create highly customized designs. The world is your oyster when you have all of those skills, because I feel like it just opens up a world of possibilities for you, and you won't feel as restricted if you're able to maybe draw something. You don't have quite the right reference photo, but you know the fundamentals of how to draw, and you're able to wing it a little bit and figure out how to draw something because you know some of the rules and the basics. Overall, I would recommend that you pick up some little projects and passion projects that you want to do along the way. Stitching other people's patterns is absolutely fine, but if you are interested in learning how to design your own patterns, I would say put these skills to practice while you're learning. You can only learn so much and go down so many tutorials until you're going to have to put your skills to the test. So I would highly recommend picking something that's attainable and small and trying out some of the skills and the techniques that you're learning as you go, because that is ultimately how you're going to synthesize what you're learning and figure out your own methods and practice. So definitely do not shy away from creating your own designs. I know you're probably going to feel like you're not quite ready yet, but I would argue that you should do it sooner rather than later, because I think that's where people get caught up a little bit in learning any skill, is that they get kind of stuck on tutorials only. So you can do it, have some confidence, and it's totally fine if it doesn't work out the way you want it to. It will bring you to the next step, which is, oh, that didn't work, so that means that maybe I should try something different next time. So I would argue, even if you mess it up, you've learned something, and it is something that will be fruitful in your process of learning. I know this is a lot, and it's definitely not something that you'll be able to do overnight, but I think that doing these things and just kind of slowly picking up different skills and techniques and educational resources will really help you to build your embroidery practice, and you will definitely see progress. The last thing that I wanted to mention is not really a part of the roadmap, but it is a tip that I have and a piece of advice. I think mindset is really everything when it comes to learning any sort of skill. And in the age of social media, comparison is obviously very cheesy for me to say, the thief of joy. Everybody does it. I struggle with it sometimes. And sometimes I have to take a step back and check myself and remind myself that I should be worried about my path and not comparing myself to others. But even still, outside of not comparing yourself, I know that some of us can be hypercritical of our progress and of our skills. And I would say, I think that you should be critical in the sense that you should be able to understand where maybe you have strengths and weaknesses and where you want to focus on. But I think that when it comes down to actually working on projects and creating things and having creative time, I think it's really important to try to set aside your critical brain and just focus on really playing with embroidery and focusing on the activity of play instead of on the activity of immediately criticizing everything you're doing. Because when you're creating, you should be using the creative side of your brain and not the analytical side of your brain, because I think that it allows you to think a little bit differently. You can have certain breakthroughs when you really let go of your ego and your analytical brain when you are playing around with your art. It can really restrict you and hinder you if you are immediately jumping to, oh, I hate this doesn't look good. If you really just set it aside and you think about it as a kind of a problem solving or a puzzle or a mission that you're on to have fun and explore, instead of having a really concrete idea of an expectation or an outcome, I think that it will help you a lot in your learning process. And I think that you will almost speed up your process a little bit, because I think that a lot of people's problem is they start to give up and they will start to shut down instead of really pushing the boundary. I know I have that problem sometimes, and I've really been more intentional in my practice in the past couple of years and really tried to set that aside. And I think that I have seen growth because of that. So I think if that makes any sense at all, I feel like I'm probably rambling a little bit, but I think that that's been a huge part of learning and growing as an artist. And ultimately, art is a lifelong journey. You're never going to be at your destination. You're always going to have something that you wish you were better at, or you're going to always have goals. And I think that's totally fine. And I think it's just the beauty of learning something and being on a lifelong art journey. So I hope that those tips were helpful. I hope that I didn't get too much on a tangent at the end. I think that you'll find a huge difference in your work if you really are intentional about it and put in some time and effort into this. I hope that you all found this helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any other tips or any sort of practices that you like to employ in your creative time. And if you enjoy embroidery content and you'd love to see more tutorials, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!